So wedding season is approaching, right? And here's the scenario.
Hold on, wedding season.
Yeah, wedding season. Like most brides like to get married in the summer. So like June brides, July, August. Those are so June is like a very popular time for weddings. Brides like summer weddings usually.
All right.
So they call it wedding season.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so here's the scenario. Wedding season is approaching, right? And we as a couple have been asked to give them some advice
Right.
to the new couple. And they were like, hey, since you've been married for 20 years, can you show up and kind of give us some advice, but at the reception, do kind of like a speech.
All right.
And me being the wife, I went ahead and made our list.
All right.
Okay. But I'm going to tell you the top 5 things that I am going to suggest for advice for this new couple. And we haven't done the speech yet, so this is your time to put your input,
All right.
and we can kind of see what our list ends up being.
All right. I like this. I like this.
Okay.
Let's go.
So, all right. So, do you want to run over the whole list and then discuss each, or just like do one at a time?
Let's go through let's go one at a time.
Okay. So the first thing I put for our not number one, these are not in any kind of order, but I would say never lose respect, argue the facts, no low blows, and always remember you're on the same team.
And that's one.
That's one.
Wow. Go do it again.
Okay. So it's really, the first thing is never lose respect for each
Never.
other.
Don't ever do that.
Respect.
Respect.
And so then I kind of broke it down to what my thoughts on that is.
I
So
know.
my thoughts on that is like argue the facts and no low blows. And when you're arguing, because arguing is healthy, but just remember you're on the same team.
I'm in agreement with that.
I know. But these are, to me, something we had to learn.
Believe that.
Right. Because I feel like when you're arguing, debating with your spouse,
You can start mudslinging.
yeah, and let's not do that, because you got to remember that person got to look at you the next day. That person has to deal with that,
Yes.
right? And they have to be like side-eyeing you like,
Facts.
did he mean that? Did she mean that?
Facts.
You know, so that can weigh on your relationship long term. So just like I said, like make sure you're arguing the facts and you're remembering like this is the partner I chose. So we're on the same team. We're not against each other. We just don't agree right now.
Right.
So it's like agree to disagree.
That's a good one.
Okay. And then the next one is communication. Set boundaries. So that I said communication, set boundaries. And then I kind of broke it down a little bit and I said set expectations and then remember to check in. Check in on these expectations because as you grow, things change in a marriage. Like you may have had one opinion about something when y'all got married, but as you grow, those things will change.
All right, we're 20 years in the game, right? Now, for some new couple, I don't care if they, whatever, I don't care if they 70 just getting married or whatever. That's a tough one there. That one right there has a degree of difficulty.
Yeah, because 20 years in, you listen to argue the fact and you don't listen to hear.
Yeah, 20 years in,
You still don't hear.
you can be arguing all you want. I'm gonna block that.
So let's just take arguing out of it though.
Right,
Like,
but that checklist thing is tough. Like that's something that got to be learned.
That's
over
why
time.
we're giving the advice because we've learned it over
But
time.
but
and
they
they're
gon' but
asking
we
us.
gonna hand them the holy grail and they gonna throw it out the window.
I don't care. They didn't ask us to make them enforce the law. They asked
All right,
us to
okay.
create advice that we would give
Well-
for what we have learned in the last 20 years.
Facts. All right, so that's great. I was just trying to see, if we was gonna give advice that they can use today.
No,
But go ahead.
they can use it. Whether they choose to use it is up to them. But we're telling them like that to communicate, set boundaries, set expectations. Remember to check in because as you grow, things will change. Listen to hear. Because, and I'm not even talking about arguing at all times because I can tell you something. I can be like, hey, Darn, Friday, I'm going to go to such and such house. And then after that, we can go pick the kids up, the grandkids, right? By Friday, I'll be like, Darn, I'm going over such and such house. And then when I get back, be ready to pick the kids up. You'll be like, who picking up the kids?
Oh, facts.
So I'm just saying, you
I didn't do the checklist.
After 20 years, you still
I
don't.
still don't got the checklist all the way straight.
Right. So that's telling them like these are things.
Yeah, don't be me.
Right. Like don't be done.
Don't be me.
No, but for real, for real.
No, that is a good one if you can do it.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
No, that's
No,
not.
it's a good one. I'm telling you, it's tough though.
No, but it is important to communicate.
Very.
And then like we're talking about one thing as far as listening to hear, but what about setting boundaries? Like what I'm not comfortable with this. Right? Let's establish the things that I'm comfortable with. For example, in our marriage, I will go on a girls trip and you will go on a guys trip, right? But don't get married and then say, "Well, I don't like you going on girls trips, and I don't like what you're doing,
Right.
all that." I feel like you should know these things about your spouse before you marry him, like
Yeah.
setting boundaries, things that we want to allow in our marriage and things that we don't. But guess what? Over time, those things will change. Like maybe when we got married, I was comfortable with it, but now at this point in our marriage, I'm not. So I want to check back in with you and be like, you know what? I understand that when you married me, this and this and that. But now I feel like we need to discuss new boundaries. The boundaries will change.
I'm like, nope, we're ready to leave.
Yeah. 100%.
What's next, boo?
Okay. The next thing is to humanize your spouse, to show grace, because we are all flawed. We're all gonna make mistakes.
Facts. That's huge.
Yeah,
That's huge.
indeed.
Even though I know this is not in no type of order,
It's not
that is gigantic.
right. Humanizing your spouse, like no one's perfect. Everybody's gonna have a bad day. People are gonna make mistakes. But if the boundaries are set, the communication is in
Is
place.
open.
There you go. Right?
Yeah.
Then we'll be able to make it through this. And I'll get to show you grace and you can show me grace because you humanize me.
That's gigantic.
Right.
Like I would throw that up there with. I mean, that would save 90% of marriages, relationships, whatever. Being able to do that, because you know people fly off the handle. You did. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yo, I'm human.
Right.
Messed up. My bad.
Yeah. You gotta allow them grace. You gotta communicate through it though. Hey, this is how that made me feel. I don't like feeling like that.
Facts.
You know, we can make it through this, that's fine, but like let's not make this a habit.
So 3 and 2 work together.
Everything I've said so far kind of just blends in right together because never losing respect, communicating, and then humanizing your spouse to know that they are gonna make mistakes. That's period. No one's perfect, so that's gonna happen. So I think the communication is what's gonna hold those other two together as well.
I'm with that, Grace. Let's go.
Laugh together. I think laughter is therapy. Like we laugh all the time. It's random. It happens. Anything, and we can just go down a road together and understand each other and giggle.
Yeah, because laughter, like, it's just the way to the heart. It's a road map to the heart. You know, you can't sit there and not laugh. And people don't even know you sillier than me.
Right.
And we done broke out laughing in an argument.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
the
like
middle of a knockdown joint too.
Right,
And just bust out laughing.
because I called you a creep.
And it killed the argument. The argument over.
No, that could.
It did though that day.
Right.
He was like, "You're such a creep." I was like, "What?"
Not a
And
creep.
we bust out laughing. Now,
Okay. Because that's kind of the core of what I put together. So if we were revising the list or adding something, what do you think that I kind of left out?
be reliable for your spouse.
Yeah. Oh. Go, go Darren Johnson. Yeah. No. Oh, what's his name? Yes, be reliable.
Be reliable.
No, say what you mean and mean what you say.
You got to be reliable.
Yeah.
You got to show up and show out.
And I want to do the same for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You got to answer that phone. And you got to show up and show out. You got to be reliable. I think that's very necessary. And that person got to know that you're going to show up. They got to know, oh, I'm going to call my husband or I'm going to call my wife.
Right. Yeah.
And know we good around here.
I'm in total agreement. So if I'm talking to a new couple, establish the boundaries of your marriage.
But we was super young. So these joints right here is good.
For this wedding that we're talking about, in this scenario, if they wanted advice from their friends, they would have got it. But in this scenario, they came to a couple who has been married for 20 years. And we've been through a lot.
A lot.
So in that, what we've decided, our final list that we're going to give them in our speech, we're going to say never lose respect, communicate, and set boundaries, humanize your spouse,
Facts.
show grace,
Yep.
laugh together,
Indeed.
and be reliable.
And be reliable. That's a great list.
Final answer.
Final answer.